Welcome to the Cabral Concept, where board-certified naturopath and integrative health practitioner Dr. Cabral shares how he was diagnosed at the age of 17 with a life-altering illness and given no hope for recovery. It was only after studying and traveling all over the world did he discover how to combine ancient Ayurvedic healing practices with state-of-the-art naturopathic and functional medicine to fully rebalance the body and re-energize it with life. It's time to discover how to get well, lose weight, and finally feel alive again. And now, here's your host, Dr. Cabral.
Hi, everyone, and welcome back to our last Cabral HouseCall of the week, our final podcast in the 7-day everyday show of the Cabral Concept, trying to bring you one more valuable piece of health-based information to guide you on this journey that we're all on called life. So there's always going to be ups and downs. There'll be moments of great health. There might be moments of not so great health. There are moments of weight gain, taking the weight off, transforming our body, and ultimately, hopefully, working on anti-aging and living our best life. That's what this show is dedicated to. I'm in, obviously, my private practice right now. If you're watching this on video, you can see, obviously, my desk, everything going on in the background behind me. This is part of the new office that I essentially moved into just about a year ago, and excited that I'm able to bring you also video so you're able to kind of step into my world, if only for a couple minutes here. So, and that's probably a good thing. But what I love being able to do on these weekend shows is to essentially reach out. And again, just as if you were sitting across the desk from me or on the couch and I'm on this chair, and we're talking through your health-based issues. That's my goal, is that I'm able to bring you some type of, hopefully, comfort in knowing what the underlying root causes may be, what's the best lab test to run or the best protocol to look at. And again, we're not trying to diagnose disease or provide a treatment protocol for disease or cure disease. We are interested in looking at what are the underlying root causes? What could be causing you to feel this way or your friend to feel this way? And then how can we go about rectifying the body? I mean, that's really what it's about. What does the body need more of? Like, what are you deficient in, possibly? And then what do you have too much of? What are your toxicities? And that's what we go about. So I love being able to teach this. I really do. It's something that I will hopefully be able to do for the rest of my life. And hopefully these house calls continue. So today's episode 1696. Head on over to stevencabral.com/1696 to read along with the questions today. Okay, so let's get into our first question. The first question today is from Mo. Mo's a frequent contributor of the show, and Mo writes in, "Hi, Dr. Cabral. Mo here again. Thank you in advance, as always, for taking the time to read and answer my questions. You're truly a wealth of knowledge." Thanks, Mo. My question today is about the podcast you have done on training. I've heard you say that you should stick to a workout program for 4 to 6 weeks before changing it so that your body can grow and adapt as you go. Based on that, I wanted to clarify if I got this part right. If I am doing a full body routine 3 times a week, would that mean I do the same workouts? What I mean by this, if I am doing deadlifts 2 times a week, would I do the same style deadlift each time or change the style? Hopefully this makes sense. I'm asking this in regards to every muscle group. So if you give me an example, that would be greatly appreciated. Thanks again. Okay, so Mo, I have answered this before. Head on over to stevencabral.com/podcast. Click on that Training Thursday tab. That'll give you about 250 shows on exercise. And the great thing is there's 250 shows on exercise. I think the new great thing is that every Thursday going forward will be dedicated to bringing you an expert on a new theme of the show called Conversations with Cabral. And we've had on now 2 special guests. And in the past, I've had on about a half a dozen guests, which you can go back and you can listen to those as well on that new tab, Conversations with Cabral. So let's answer this question, though. All right, in an ideal world, let's say you're working out 3 times a week. I think that's the perfect amount for most people. I really do. And then one more day of cardio or something so that it's more days than not, right? Because if you work out 3 days, well, then you have 4 days off. So in an ideal world, it'd be Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and then pick a weekend day to do something, ideally the day that you have your cheat meal or flex meal. That's the ideal world. What else could you do? Well, you could also do, weekends off with family, and then you do Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday off, Thursday, Friday. And then that's great too. So you still get 4 days in, but you say, well, I don't have a lot of time during the week, so what about the weekends? Well, that's okay too. Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, Sunday workouts. That's great as well. And then you have off Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So there's a lot of different ways to be able to do this. Try not to take off more than 1 day in a row. And you can absolutely create a workout program to do that. So now you're asking, should you do the same workout those 3 days? And the answer would be not ideally. But I've given workouts before in the past where I said, hey, do this every day and take a day off in between, right? So do this workout, I should say, 3 times a week with a day off in between. And that's okay, but it's a beginner type program. The reason is the body moves in 3 planes of motion. So forward and back, side to side, and then rotation or anti-rotation. But there's different ways of working those movements. So, if you were to do only one workout and do it 3 times a week, you wouldn't be doing step-ups, lunges, deadlifts, and squats. And those are your 4 major leg movements. You'd really want to break those up into at least 2 different leg workouts. So you could do push-pull leg exercises, or you could do pull on one day, push on the other. That's up to you and how you design your program. Again, if this sounds new to you, 250 shows, go back, check those out, take your time. There's no rush. Go back, absorb the information. And the reason I do say 4 weeks to 6 weeks is so that you can do the exercise long enough so that you get better at it. That's progressive overload. You want that because that's actually how you get better results. And sometimes people can go longer. So for example, I've kept squats in my program for 12 weeks for 3 different programs. Every month I might switch the program. I kept them going. What did I change? I changed the reps. And by changing the reps, if I go from higher reps, let's say 10 to 12, down to 5 to 8 rep range, or 8 sets of 8 and then 5, well, then it's going to allow me to lift more weight. And so that's progressive overload. So the thing that you want to look at is do a workout, continue to try to progress just a little bit. Maybe it's 1 extra set, up to like 3 or 4 sets, or up to around 30 reps or so, maybe 45 max, not for each one, but over the course of all the sets in terms of repetitions. And then once you've kind of maxed that out for 2 weeks in a row, meaning not 1 rep maxes, but the most weight that you can do with good form for, let's say, 10 reps. Once you've done that for 2 weeks in a row, time to switch it up because your benefits from that exercise have pretty much plateaued. So Mo, hopefully that was helpful. Mo's up again. Hey, Dr. Cabral. Mo again. Sorry if it seems like I'm taking over all the time with my questions. Haha. This question is in regards to smartwatches, specifically Apple Watch. How accurate do you think they are in calculating calories burned and steps and whatnot? Would you say they are reliable in that sense? If not, which brand would you say is the most reliable for calculating calories burned? Thanks again for your time and help. Before you ever use an Apple Watch, a Whoop strap, an Oura ring, any type of pedometer, any of those things, okay? Before you use any of them, first just calculate what your basal metabolic rate is. And you can do that pretty much online with your age, your typical fitness level, and height, weight, right? So definitely do that. And I've done podcasts on this. Just go to stevencabral.com/podcast and type in basal metabolic rate or BMR. I really want you to listen to the podcast on that, and then I give you a calculator in order to do that for free. So definitely do that, because then really what you're adding on top of that, I know that there's tweaks to that, meaning like, okay, you could be 52 years old, but in great shape, so it's going to say your BMR is a little lower. It's true, but again, this is just a starting point. And then you can look at your calories for the day and you can say, okay, am I gaining weight at this amount of calories? Am I losing weight at this amount of calories? Or am I stabilized? So you'll figure that out in time. And then when you use your Apple Watch, which is pretty good, the Oura Ring, the Whoop strap, any of these things are fine. They're all pretty good at that. They really are. Then you can say, okay, and today I also burn an extra 550 calories, 600 calories on top of your resting metabolic rate. So you have resting metabolic rate, basal metabolic rate. Check out my podcast on that, Mo. Use that search function. You'll be able to find these as well. So again, but yeah, I think they're pretty good. I really do. But again, if you eat 2,700 calories a day, and it's saying that you're burning 2,700 calories a day, and you start gaining a half a pound a week, well, you know that it's a little off, right? So you know that you need to take down your calories because the device that you're using, the smart device you're using, is a little over-calibrated, or you're dealing with issues of lowered metabolic rate, such as lowered thyroid, et cetera, et cetera. Okay, so Mo, thanks for writing in. Judy's up. Judy says, hi, Dr. Cabral. I notice I wake up in the morning, my blood sugar often ranges from 83 to 110, which I heard is not optimal. I know you mentioned 16-hour fasts are not right for everyone. I'm 37 years old, female, lean, mostly Vata Pitta, who has low progesterone. When I tested with your team, my A1C was right at the borderline around 5.6. What do you recommend fasting until my blood sugar goes below 80, or breaking the fast even when my blood sugar is elevated? Well, it's a great question, and I actually would not say that the range that you mentioned is all bad. It's not. Like, if you wake up and your fasting glucose is in the 70s or 80s, well, then you won. You're doing great. It's when it's in the 90s and definitely above 95 that it's becoming an issue. And yes, when your hemoglobin A1C is at a 5.6, now you're borderline. So, but if you're Vata, this is very odd. There's something else going on because the Vata does not typically have blood sugar dysregularity. So now we need to look at, okay, you're lean, you're a Vata. What else is going on? Look at the cortisol awakening response, high levels of cortisol. High levels of cortisol, it's a glucocorticoid. And then we break that down. Okay, corticoid, think of cortisol. Glucose, think of cortisol, brings glucose into your bloodstream. So really important that you can't fast your way out of this, and sometimes a longer fast can actually be more detrimental because it puts you in what's called a glucogenic-based state. A glucogenic-based state means that your body's in fight or flight. It's asking your body, we need glucose, break down liver glycogen, break down muscle glycogen, whatever it is. And people say, oh, well, you can just burn ketones. Well, you don't get to just burn ketones if your body's in a state of fight or flight. You get to burn ketones if you're not in a state of fight or flight. So you really have to look at the level of knowledge that your keto guru is bringing you. That's it, okay? Because again, it does not work for everyone. So having said that, I would recommend more hours before you go to bed for the fasting part of it. And then, sure, you might fast for a couple hours in the morning as well. So 16 could work for you. I would really look at our Fatlocity system. Certainly, detox would work great. But honestly, I'm looking more potentially at cortisol. I don't know because I haven't seen your blood labs, right? But I'm giving you my opinion as to where we're at. We might want to use the deep sleep protocol at night, the adrenal soothe at night, the full spectrum magnesium at night, with the full sleep protocol because we're trying to reset that diurnal rhythm. We might want to use the Fatlocity protocol for the blood sugar balancing, healthy blood sugar balancing, all of that. But I would really work with an IHP or one of our health coaches on this. But if you're already lean and there's still that dysregularity, we need to look at other factors as well, inflammation, etc. All right. Thank you for writing in, Judy. Samantha's up next. Hi, Dr. Cabral. Thank you for all you do. I've been switching over all of my supplements to Equilibrium Nutrition, and I had a quick question about your vitamin D drops. Did you leave out the vitamin K, assuming it would be taken with the DNS? I know you always have a reason for everything, and I look forward to my shake every single morning. I just want to make sure I shouldn't add more vitamin K for absorption. Thank you so much, Samantha. Samantha, you are right on the money. Yes, we're not going to overdose people in vitamin K because too much vitamin K is not a good thing. It's a fat-soluble vitamin, right? You get your A, your D, your E, and your K. We don't want to overdo those. They're fat-soluble. Don't overdo them. So what do? We assume that people are going to be taking an activated multivitamin, any brand, or the daily nutritional support, which again, in my opinion, yes, I'm biased, but there's no way that you could replicate that product for $2 a day. There's no possible way. It's 12 supplements in one. It's a full activated multivitamin. It's your electrolytes. It's 15 grams of a hypoallergenic protein, non-GMO, vegan, no corn, no nuts, no dairy, no soy, no eggs. And it took years to develop that. So Samantha, you're right on. We don't add vitamin D to our vitamin K because everybody should be taking all of the nutrients, not just vitamin D. Thank you, Samantha. And again, you are correct. Mo's up. Again, Mo's up. Hi, Dr. Cabral. This question is for my father. He was told that his hearing is declining. He's 55 and was told he should get a hearing piece or else your brain will get lazy and weak and your hearing will just keep getting worse. His doctor told him. He has done the 21-day detox, the heavy metal detox, the intestinal cleanse. He's on the CBO, and after that, he'll do the mold. I was reading the book you recommended, You Are the Placebo by Dr. Joe Dispenza, and I started thinking that he can get his hearing back. I wanted your opinion on this and also see if you have any recommendations. My father does not listen to music on headphones or anything like that. He's a Vata Pitta Kapha. Maybe. We'll see about that. Any advice is appreciated. As always, thank you for all you do. Okay. By the way, very few people are a tridosha or tridosha. Very few people are evenly balanced amongst all three. Most people think they are because they have a little bit of this, a little bit of that, a little bit of this. But no, there's always one dominant, one subtype typically, right? So, okay, what can I give you for information on this? By the way, if anybody knows Dr. Joe Dispenza, we've reached out to him to be on Conversations with Cabral. DM him on Instagram. Let him know that we want to have him on the show. I'd love to be able to share with people his work. And we'd be able to help him reach over 1 million people a month. So I'd love to be able to help him do that. And again, no strings attached. I'm actually want to promote him. So, okay, back to the question at hand. Yeah, it is possible because what happens is inflammation can actually affect the hearing. heavy metals, fungal overgrowth, yeast overgrowth, mold overgrowth. So we need to look at those things. So again, I can't provide a treatment protocol. That's against the rules. Here's what we'll do. Daily foundational protocol level 2 or level 3. You're already doing the CBO, you're doing the mold, which is great. Definitely get that omega-3s in there, but that's part of daily foundational protocol level 2, level 3, which is what I do. Keep working the process. And then also, there are specific drops that you can use for inflammation in the ears. And I talked about them before. They're from Herb Farm and they're mullein. Are they mullein? Are they mullein? That's a great question. I believe they're mullein and garlic oil drops. Garlic oil drops are my preferred. I believe they're by Herb Farm. Mo, check those out. And I do believe anything is possible. So damage can absolutely be done to the very tiny microscopic bones in the ears. But oftentimes it's inflammation. And he's only 55. He's 55 years young. I've seen imbalances with electrolytes. I've seen absolutely the imbalances that I spoke about earlier with the toxicity, with the fungal overgrowth. And I've seen the hearing improve drastically. I really have. Okay. Thank you, Mo. If he hasn't run the Big 5, run that Big 5. Don't guess, test, right? All right, let's see where we're at. We're at 17 minutes, 16 minutes. We're doing great. Next question is from Anonymous. Hi, Dr. Cabral. I've been listening to your podcast, the 500s episodes, where you speak about oncoming disease and different signs. I noticed one of them is waking up and peeing at night. I do that, and I always have for as long as I can remember. I am always thirsty and drink water right up to bed, and also when I wake up to pee, I drink more water. Do you think I should stop drinking water before bed? I've done 4 of your 7-day detox, intestinal cleanse, CBO, gut finisher, parasite, and I eat the same meals you do. And I feel better and better every day. I guess the only thing I need to do is run labs to see if there's an issue. If that's correct, please let me know which labs, and also any other recommendations would be greatly appreciated. Thanks for all you do. You're a gift to us all. Thank you. I appreciate that. That's amazing. I appreciate that. Okay, let's answer this question. Right off the bat, so I'm telling you right now, I have the privilege to be able to teach a lot of doctors, medical doctors, naturopathic doctors, functional medicine doctors, all sorts of doctors, health practitioners, acupuncturists, you name it. And they ask me, how are you able to help people get well? Meaning like, why does everyone seem to get well? And I tell them, it doesn't mean that it's easy, but it means that I'm willing, as long as the person I'm working with or my team is working with, because mainly I oversee my team now. But if the person does not give up, neither are we. That's it. I tell all the doctors I work with, if you're not willing to give up, then the person you're working with is going to get better. That's the bottom line. Because, and here's why. Sometimes, again, people understand by the time they come to work with myself and my team that we're going to help them get well. Don't rush the process. We want to be the last stop on the train. That's it. So here's what we do. We say, we're going to work the protocols. I've created these protocols based on decades of research and working with people. But we're going to tweak it for you. So for example, this person, they've done a lot of great things. They're absolutely amazing, right? Anonymous, you're amazing. You've not run the labs yet, and yes, we should run the labs, okay? You can run the Big 5, kind of pick whichever one you want. But there's a couple things that are really simple up front. Let's do one night. One night is never enough. Let's do 3 nights in a row. Don't drink water 3 hours before bed, okay? And don't overdrink at dinner. Just don't do it. Do you still wake up during the night to urinate then? Don't drink water before bed. I know you might be a little thirsty. You don't have to do this for the rest of your life. We'll talk about the thirst in a moment. But do you still wake up to urinate? If the answer is no, then you're drinking too much water before bed and you're not absorbing it. Now the absorption comes into play. Why are you not absorbing the water that you're drinking, right? Unless you're just over drinking water, and you might be. Drink more water in the earlier half of the day. I drink 70% of all the water I'm going to drink for the day before 10 a.m. And I know that might sound crazy, but if you go back and you listen to my Ayurvedic episodes and you listen to why it's so important to have a liquid before lunch diet, I do a smoothie, I add some oatmeal sometimes, all those great things. But you need to flush out your body that has been stagnant from being in bed for 8 hours and probably not drinking any water for 10 hours to sometimes more. Flush it out, the body. That's when it needs that water to hydrate. You don't want to have 70% of your water the last, few hours before bed. Drink it the earlier half of the day. Okay. So it might be electrolyte imbalance. You might need more sodium in your diet, right? You absolutely might need more sodium. Again, I don't know that. I can't tell you that. So I would run at least the starter kit, okay? That's where I would start. The starter kit, it's 2 labs. And it's a great place to start. It gives you all your vitamin levels, all your mineral levels, look at the heavy metals, look at the gut function. It's amazing. Start there. Okay. Can I give you another tip? Yes. If you're a male, run your blood work with your PCP. If you're a female, run your blood work with your PCP. Everybody should run their blood work with their PCP. Run a full lipid profile, run your CBC. Well, listen to my podcast, please, on what labs to ask your doctor to run, right? So just go to stevencabral.com and type in blood work, and you'll see the podcast I did on exactly what to ask for your doctor to run for your blood work and try to get it covered by insurance. You can run your 25-hydroxyvitamin D, but if you're a male, run your PSA, and you can ask them to run what's called dihydrotestosterone, DHT. Okay? So PSA, not the best number for looking at your prostate, but for sure, if it's above a 1, well, then you have mild, most likely inflammation of the prostate. You start to get above a 3, well, we're looking at some form of prostatitis. So it could be heavy metals, could be testosterone conversion to dihydrotestosterone, could be toxicity like plastics, could be cadmium. I mean, there's all sorts of issues. And a swollen prostate, essentially a flame prostate, could cause some nocturnal urination, right? Having to urinate at night. So I think that's a good place to start. That's where I would start, Anonymous. And that is our show for the day. Time flies when you're having fun, and I truly do enjoy answering all of your questions. Thank you so much for tuning into another week of the Cabral House Calls and Cabral Concepts. And don't forget, I'll be back tomorrow, every single Monday, with our Mindset and Motivation Mondays. Thank you so much. Appreciate your reviews on the podcast. Appreciate your subscribes, your likes. Thank you very much. And of course, if this show was helpful, please do feel free to pass it along to anyone else you believe it could serve. Take care, everybody. Ever wonder what the best sauna, blue blockers, sleep trackers, wake lights, salt lamps, or other health gadgets are? Or what about the top non-toxic mattresses, sheets, soaps, bath products, toothpaste, and cookware? Or would you like to know the cleanest choices for hemp parts, meal delivery services, supplements, and much more? I personally curated, researched, and now created a resource page of all of my top picks that continues to grow each week. These are the exact products I use in my own life, with my family, in my private practice, and they're the ones I trust. To find out all of my up-to-date recommendations and all the details, simply head on over to stevencabral.com/resources.